fancy looking, but I'm going to bring it back to life and use it in church or something. A couple times anyway. I got it splayed out all over the place, so that's the big project going on here. I'm not sure who picks it up. It went too fast. I wasn't paying attention close enough. I don't know if it's Chad or Steve or somebody figured it out. W4JPL.
I think Steve was next.
Yeah, I guess W4JPL N4LQ, just kind of waking up. I had a bowl of one of those little bags of oatmeal this morning. Yeah, the milk I got turned out to be no good for some reason. It's dated October 5th. A whole gallon of milk. I think I'll take it back to the grocery store and tell them they sold me a bad bottle of milk. WB4NKL, N4LQ, good morning, Cliff.
LQ, it's WB4NKL. Okay, it's 57 degrees here, and looks like got a couple more days of 80 degrees, and then it starts dropping off. So looking forward to it. It's my kind of weather. Steve, I got some total for breakfast this morning. I ordered some off Amazon Saturday night, and it come yesterday. So overnight I got me a box of total. Had that for breakfast this morning. I hadn't had any of that in years, but it's a good change from what I'm used to. John, I wonder if that's a 66. Is that a tube amp or a solid state? I guess that time period it could go either way, but probably a tube amp for a guitar amp, I guess. Might pass that along, what kind of tubes and stuff you're working with. And let's see. Goes to Greg, I think. KF4DRN. It's WB4NKL.
WB4NKL, KF4DRN. Greg, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. Anyway, not much going on my end this morning, but anyway, it was a little bit cool down here, but not too bad. Anyway, I'll pass it on around. KF4DRN, the group.
Go ahead, Chadwick. I'm just giving a chance if anybody else wants in. Anybody else? Well, it ain't time for it yet, I guess not. And Lord knows where's the Billy Bob's at. So, we'll go ahead and send it all around a second time and see what it is. It's about, I don't know, I have to look on and see what the temperature is. But looks like it's gonna be a pretty day. So, go ahead, Terry. Is the source up this morning? WD4OUM. Well, the sun's out, the surf's set, the seashells are shelling, you know, all that stuff. So, everything is good. Well, I was prowling around there Saturday, and I run across this kitchen light fixture. It was a real expensive light fixture. I like the looks of it. And a big old fancy house and everything. And I kept trying to talk that lady down. I asked her if it used LEDs, and she said, don't think so. So we took it apart. It said fluorescent.
And I said, well, I'd like to try something, but I ain't gonna give you that kind of money. I said, I'll give you $5 for it. Well, after about 10 minutes, he decided I needed it. So, kind of wish he'd have kept it. I brought that thing home. I had some whole box full of LED bulbs back here, but they was cool white, and I don't like cool white. I like daylight. So I went down to Wally World, got me some daylight. I come home, put them in there, and they worked. Well, that thing is heavy, so I got Leroy out here, and we took the fixture down, and we worked and worked and worked on that thing, trying to get it up. And I got weak and got sick, had to lay down the recliner, and we had to quit. So, anyway, needless to say, yesterday we finally got everything together. The lights I got at Wally World went out. And I had to put the cool whites in there, but everything is good today. So there you go. And, oh well, what can I say? And John Boy, you need to get you one of them big twin reverbs. That's what you need if you're going to play a guitar. W4JPL, WD4OUM.
WD4OUM. And the group, W4JPL. Well, Cliff, it's a guitar I'm restoring, not a guitar amp. You know, like I said, I've had this thing for 50 years, and it looks it. It's beat up, it's old, it's ugly. But then again, so am I. So I figure we make a good pair. I just want to... I'm not going to repaint or anything. I'm just taking everything apart and cleaning the frets, and I got the guitar tuners out. And right now, they're all polished up. Give them a little bit of oil. Let them turn smooth, and then when it's nicer out today, I'm going to take some car wax. I'm going to go out there and wax the body. And that'll be that. That'll be another project done. It's another one I've been getting to for about 25 years. I got myself down to one guitar amp, and I honestly never use it. Actually, I got two. I got this little battery operated one called Pig Nose. I use that at church. It's a good little amp for what it is. And then I've got a Vox AC-15, I think. It's a tube amp. Always wanted one, and I bought one a couple years ago, and I don't think I've used it a half a dozen times. Boy, it sure sounds pretty. So, that's what's going on here. Not too much going on in the radio world right now. I'm in a holding pattern. Oh, yeah. I have this reel-to-reel tape deck that I use. I use it more or less to archive my music after I record it. And I just like putting things on tape. And boy, that reel-to-reel machine gave me a fit. It just refused to work, wouldn't record, and then wouldn't record and wouldn't play back. So that sucker's 85 pounds, as much as a stupid R390A. I'd be pulling off my studio desk and bring it in here and clean it all up. I got it working, but man, oh man, it's got plug-in cars like the Drake's TR7s and other things like that, and I think they just need to be pulled out and resuited after 100 years. So, between that and working on the house, and matter of fact, after I get off here, I'm going to put my bee suit on once the sun's over the trees and start cutting grass. It's due. So, that's what's going on here at the Looney Bin. Over to Mr. Steve, N4LQ, and the group, W4JPL.
WK4.
Good morning, Rick. I guess you're after Greg, DRN. Yeah, okay, this N4LQ, good on the total there, Cliff. And Yeah, I'm about half done with my last box, so I better get me some more. But I've been getting an urge for some crunchy type cereal that doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. And so I'm going to look around and maybe they make a crunchy total. But let's see, Greg, you never did fill out that form that was emailed you, so you need to do that. If you don't care, that if you don't want to, that's okay too. And Terry, how many blondes does it take to change a light bulb? I think you can probably answer that one. And I was sitting here, I got this idea that somebody out there had a call sign of RG8U, and lo and behold, I looked it up on QRZ. There is somebody that has the RG8U coax call. He's in Russia, and I dare somebody to try to pronounce the name of the town that he's in. Take a look at that. I'd like to work that guy. He's got 10,700 QSOs. But there you go. And John, amplifiers, maybe you could take one of those amplifiers and make a modulator out of it for an AM rig. Over to you, Cliff, WB4NKL, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4NKL. Okay, yeah, that'd make a good modulator. But, I misunderstood you first go around on the guitar versus the amp, I guess, John. I got into a different project there yesterday. Well, first thing I did is I went to the flea market early, and I used to go, it's up about 5 miles from here. I used to go quite a bit, but I try to stay away from it. But I went yesterday, a big crowd up there, and I was walking down through there and seen a HG10 Heathkit VFO on the table, which I didn't really need, but I picked it up. Price was pretty good. So, old trading material for the Hamfest, I guess. But my brakes on the old Nissan or Toyota Venza picked up a little squeal on the back brakes, so I picked up some brake pads for it and changed them out. That about wore me out. I used to do something like that, you didn't think nothing about it, but I was changing them out. It took me about 3 or 4 hours, and I was wore out when I got done and dirty. Linda made me, she's about to make me take a bath out in the yard, but got that done, accomplished. I used to enjoy that kind of work, but not so much anymore. This train's about to overmodulate me here. KF4DRN, it's WB4NKL, and turning over to Rick, WK4R.
WB4NKL, KF4DRN, the group. Anyway, and Steve, about the form, I'll have to figure out how to do that. I'm not very savvy when it comes to these smartphones, but I'll get my daughter to help me, maybe. Maybe I can figure out how to do it anyway. So, anyway, I'll pass it on along. I guess I'll make this my last one here this morning. Everybody have a good day and everything. I've got some things I got to do. So, anyway, I'll say 7-3 on this one. And this is KF4DRN.
GUZ. Now, if I can just remember that. Good morning, everybody. WK4R. Let's see. Cliff, I'm still jealous you got a train close to your house there, but it does raise a question since you work for him. I mean, could you just walk down the road and jump on the train to get to work, or did they actually make you go to a building? Anyway, go ahead, Brandon. W4GUZ, WK4R. No, I don't know who it goes to.
I was thinking the same thing. Must be nice living that close to the track. Amy sent me something just now that Dollywood derailed, but I think that's a memory from this time last year. I don't know. I'll have to research it some more. Anyway, recovering from a cold that my wife and I have shared for the last week or so, so we'll keep it short today. Back to the top of the list. LB4G music.
I'm at the top of the list, but I think my old buddy Al's in there from South Carolina. Go ahead, Al.
Okay, real fine. Good morning, everybody. KK4VH joined this fine group here this morning. Let me get some of these swirls out of here. Goodness gracious. Okay, real fine. Well, anyway, we got a nice morning here. And 71 degrees and cloudy overcast. It's not supposed to rain, but you know how that is. I can hear them speakers behind me whispering. I'm going to have to cut them off. I had the computer on and the amplified speakers on them. To take me over here, I think. But anyway, I'll give it to, I guess it goes back to you, Chad. So, KN4RCL, KK4VH.
Anybody else want to see in this morning? Nothing heard. Brandon, yeah, you're right. The 192 at Dollywood Klondike Caddy did derail last night about 8 o'clock. And that should have been the last train for the day. And the reason I know about it, I was on Facebook, and them Dollywood membership groups I'm a member of, they's evacuating the train middle of nowhere when it's dark, and they said it shifted left and right again. So it obviously derailed, and they're evacuating the train. So I was hoping to ride the train going to Dollywood this week. So looks like the train will be out for me. KM4RCL. Go ahead, Terry.
WD4OU. Well, good morning, Rick, Brandon, Al. Brandon, I sent you a text there the other day. You didn't respond, but oh well. Hope everything is good. I know it ain't, but you know what I mean. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Anyway, and Steve, I tell you, when you get old and can't do nothing, and every time you try to do something, your heart goes to fluttering and going on. You get sick at your stomach, have to lay down right in the middle of trying to do something. It just ain't no fun anymore. So, and Cliff, I can totally understand what you're saying. That's just like used to. I could swap them lights. Well, actually, I did the first kitchen light. I swapped it out myself. Every time I start to do anything, I don't know, my heart flutters and goes on. When it does that, I get real weak, and when I do that, I get sick at my stomach. So I keep asking Leroy to take me out and shoot me in the back of the head, and he won't do it. And I told him, I said, you know, I thought we was friends. I said, if you asked me to pop you one, I'd be glad to, you know. I'd even use my own gun, my own bullet. Oh, well. I guess, you know, friends ain't what they used to be. John Boy, would that happen to be a Fender Strat or thereabouts that you're tinkering with? W4JPL, WD4OUM.
WD4OUM in a group. W4JPL. First of all, Brandon, sorry you've been feeling a little puny. I hope you get over that pretty quick. And Terry, I already know it's like you try to get stuff done and you do so much and then suddenly you gotta go rest for a while. My upper back starts to hurt something terrible. So I think I'm going to probably have to change my hot water heater in the next year or so. I'm not looking forward to that. I'll get one of the boys to help me. One of my boys to help me, my son-in-law. Still not going to pay no money to put that in. It's an idiot's job to do. Hook the wire up, hook the power up, and hot and the cold, Bob's your uncle, you're done. So, Terry, I think I got it figured out. You used the wrong Lee when you're putting that light in. Instead of using Leroy, maybe you should have used Leanne to help you put that light up. I think that's the solution to your problem, sir. The guitar, I have a Fender Stratocaster that I bought years ago, American-made one. It mostly sits in the little case. This is made by a company called Harmony. I think it was bought out by Gibson or somebody, or Epiphone. But it was made in the USA. It's called a Bobcat, and trying to buy one of them stupid things on eBay are stupid money, like everything else is these days. N4LQ in a group, W4JPL.
W4JPL, N4LQ. I'm running a massive 30 watts today. Thought I'd run barefoot. I got the power supply back to its original condition, hopefully without the hum. I took out the filter choke that lowers the B plus so much that the rig only puts out about 15 watts. I took that out and put in, gosh, I've got 100 microfarads of capacitance on the output now. It seems to be pretty clean. Anyhow, Terry, I asked you how many blondes it takes to change a light bulb, but apparently you didn't know. That is pretty deep. But there has been two answers to that question over the years, and the first one I heard was that it takes one blonde to hold the light bulb and 6 more to turn the ladder. But the other one I heard was that just one blonde can change the light bulb. She just holds the bulb and lets the whole world revolve around her. And okay, on the HG10, Cliff, sounds like a real treasure. And hey, bring it to the luncheon Thursday. I might be able to use that. I'll buy it from you, maybe. Be a good one to have around here if you don't need it. And maybe you can make some money on me. Anyway, I ordered a new SDR receiver the other day. This one's called the RX-888. RX-888. And it's supposed to be pretty good. It's coming out of California. It's of course it came from China, but on eBay there's some of those things that come out of California, and it's I ordered that thing Saturday and it's already started it on its route. Left yesterday somehow in the mail, and it's made it through the city of what do they call that? The City of Commerce? Yeah, something like that in California. So I'm kind of anxious to give that a try. This I blew up 2 other SDRs, and I'm using this AirSpy now, and it's no good on this. It's too susceptible to signals that are off on the sideband just tears it up. So we'll see how this one works out. Over to you there, Mr. Cliff, WB4NKL, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4NKL. Okay, Steve, yeah, I might bring the VFO. Don't think I've got one. I've got a couple of DX60s, but I think one's probably all I need. This one, a lot of times you see that dial, you know, it's not too good a shape, cracked up, but this one looks like it's real good, so should be a good one to restore. Looks pretty good. I was wondering about though, you said you damaged the USB ports on those. I don't guess that's probably not repairable. Probably all surface mounted stuff you can't even see. It seems like I know on these TVs I've had the HDMI ports quit working and real easy. That stuff seems real sensitive to surges and I don't know what else, but I know I've got one TV. It's got 3 HDMI ports and just one of them works now. But the only solution, I guess, is to junk it and get another TV. Probably the same thing with SDR receivers. Yeah, I was going to look at the frequency. I'm pretty close on frequency here. I forget to, running this Heath kit, I forget to look at the frequency. Used to running the synthesizer. The only problem with hopping this train down here, it's the wrong company. This is Norfolk Southern runs here. So competition, different bunch of people. Had to drive to Irwin to get on the Clinchfield. See, Greg, check 73's Greg, if you're still listening, and I'll send it on to Rick, WK4R, it's WB4NKL.
WK4R, wrong train. That does pose a serious problem. I just figured you wouldn't let competition get that close to you. I didn't know. Well, I am kind of looking forward to, I think it's October 27th or so. Got to be in Goshen, Virginia. I managed to get tickets to ride the Flying J611. If you're not familiar with it, you just have to look it up. But I think, Brandon probably knows better than me, I think it's the only one in existence that's still working. Might be the only one in, maybe the world, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it is. It's one of my favorite engines, to say the least. It just looks good. And they've spent years and a lot of money putting it back together. So we'll see what happens with that one. Brandon hates you. Were sick, still sick. I just found your text. I don't know what I was thinking, didn't see it before. Yes, I went to the train show. It was pretty good. Better than one in South Carolina by far. I didn't get anything, but looked around at a lot of stuff. Didn't really need a lot of anything at the time. And I hate, Cuz missed a comment a while ago, but I just can't believe nobody ever thought about using, I believe it was John that said this, using this analogy before interchangeably or whatever, but Leroy and Leanne. And that was good, John. I give you credit for that one. Now there's a thought for you, Terry. You need to think on that one. And shipping from California. I have, here a while back, I was getting stuff in 3 days from Anaheim to here. I don't know how they did it, U.S. Postal Service, but 3 days. Those for GUZ, WK4R.
WK4R and the group, good morning to everyone. Hello, Al. Goodbye, Greg, if you're still listening. It's 53 degrees here. I took a sick day. Everybody's sounding good though. Your 30 watts is making it up here just fine, Steve. Sorry I didn't respond to your text, Terry. That one slipped by me somehow. Anyway. Yeah, Cliff, I used to go to every yard sale, garage sale in 3 counties. But I quit. Might be a good idea to start going back. I started to stop a couple weeks ago. Old, at least 100-year-old house down here when you start up King Creek was having a yard sale, and I figured it'd either be some really good stuff or a bunch of new junk, so I didn't stop. And yeah, I don't know if it's just a every once in a while occurrence, but the United States Post Office has been running rather regularly on Sundays, which is odd. I guess that's probably Amazon's fault. I don't think, no, we didn't get anything yesterday. But I know last week I was surprised to see the mail Jeep pull up in the driveway. And Rick, I think you are correct on the 611 multi-million-dollar restoration. And that was a little short notice, but it would be fun to play fireman or engineer for a while. My latest purchase was the days that steam ran the clinch field, which is it's more of a picture book than anything, but it does tell a story. I had more head-on collisions on that line than I recall, but only one boiler explosion. Chad, hope you get to ride the train, but maybe if it was just, who knows what it was. At least the engine stayed upright. And just a quick Google search, Dollywood hadn't had that great of a safety record in the last 4 or 5 years. And they need to back up and look at things before something bad happens. But I think Tweetsy keeps a pretty clean record. Glad you had fun at the train show, Rick. And what day was it you're heading to Virginia? $500 for 30 minutes as a engineer is a little much, especially after tail gunning the B-29. Although it would be really fun. KK4VH W4GUZ.
Go, Al, it's your turn. Something happened to Al. He might blow it up or something. We'll just go ahead and make one. We'll try him next time around. That 611, I always heard it called the Queen of Steam or the Spirit of Roanoke, because it's a Norfolk and Western Class J. That's just what I've heard about it. And I've seen it one time. It was on loan from Virginia Transportation Museum. It was down there at Spencer, North Carolina. And I seen a picture of the day on Saluda grade. It was the number 45, I can't remember, 01 or something. It's the one that Tennessee owned. from the Southern Railroad. It was pulling Florida Great in 1972. Now I figured, well, they're still using steam in 1972. That would have been the closest to, well, if you went for the competition, Cliff, instead of the Quenchfield, the Southern 1972, I say you was pretty close to getting on with the railroad, beginning your career with them in 1972. So yeah, I've noticed that too about the safety record. I was with them one time, and that 192 is not a very good engine to use on that. It's the same as the 190, but obviously the 190 is a lot better engine. Number one, because it's all level with 3T runs, and 192 runs uphill. But that number 70 Cinderella is a better ride, because I can tell you why. It's an older locomotive, but it's geared lower and has smaller wheels. It's made for a freight pulling car, and 192 is made for a troop moving car. It was one of the I forgot what it's called, World War II engines they built for World War II for the Army ordered. So a 70 Cinderella seems like a whole up there ride. It's more geared towards mountains and everything. It's got better gear in it. So I'll send it on around. Go ahead, Terry.
Deputy D4OUM. Well, you fellers done wore me out on all these choo-choo trains. Used to be able to hear them go through Colonial Heights down there. They run a lot of them coal cars through there. Hear one every now and then, but it ain't very often. But oh well. And John Boy, Leroy and Leanne. Boy, could I go into a bunch of stuff here, but no, I'm gonna try to be nice this morning. I ain't gonna do it. So there you go. But I will say this: only trouble getting Leanne out here to help me. I can't keep up with her, you know. She's either up there in Washington County at the bed and breakfast, or she's down in Knoxville in that padded room. And usually when I go check on her, she's at the other place, so whatever. But oh well. Anyway, love of my life, what can I say? You know, I spent a fortune on that woman and never did get her here. Went out and bought gas logs for the fireplace, and I like never talk that big old bear to come in and land down the floor, you know. But that took a little sweating there. But yeah, oh well. And done something else, can't remember what it was, but I went to a lot of expense. Had old Uncle Dave on standby, you know. He was chomping at the bits, going to hitch us up there, and oh well. Anyway, I got a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls over that deal. Oh, me crazy people. Anyway, W4JPL, WD4OUM.
Alright, WD4OUM in the group, W4JPL. Well, as far as the padded room is concerned, as far as I'm concerned, they're all crazy. All of them, every one of them. Every one God ever made. Women's are nuts. There was a perfect railroad analogy that I have somewhere that somebody sent me once. The way a guy thinks, tracks run straight. And the way a woman thinks, looks like a switching yard on steroids and acid. So, yeah. However, can't live with them, can't live without them, but you gotta love them. So, Steve, I don't know if you've ever tried one or heard of it, but I have something called an SDRIQ. It was made by, I think, RF Space. It's long discontinued. It only does HF, but it's a really good SDR receiver. I used it more or less for a pan adapter for my K3, which I still have. I might do something with that someday. But I had a problem with it once. Something went wrong, and it was like 5 years after I bought it. I sent the guy, Peter, an email about it. He said, just send it back, I'll fix it for you. He never charged me a dime. So it wasn't cheap, but I got my money out of that thing. I'm going to jump out of here, boys. I got to go up and hear Maggie walk around and see what she's doing, and I'm probably going to put the bee suit on and go cut the grass. I'll be listening for a few. 73. Let's see. N4LQ in the group. W4JPL.
Okay, bee suit. W4JPL, N4LQ. You probably look like the Pillsbury Doughboy out there on the tractor. Oh, man. Yeah, SDRIQ, there's all kinds of them out there. Perseus, that's one of the best ones, if not the best, that's affordable. But I was looking at one SDR yesterday. Yeah, it was, it started out, they have all these options, and it's a commercial version, but it started out at $15,000 or thereabouts, and it went up to $785,000 with all the options. Man, oh man, that must be a nice SDR. I don't think it runs on Windows. And I rode a train not 10 years ago or so at Spencer. You ever been up there at the Spencer train place in North Carolina? It's right there above Charlotte. And took my dad up there and my son, and we rode I think it was a steam engine, and had some cars behind it. It didn't go far, maybe a quarter mile or something down, and turned around and came back. Well, it actually didn't even turn around. It went backwards. It only go in one direction. And they got a roundhouse there, and it was pretty interesting to see, in a nice museum. So go ahead, Cliff. WB4NKL, N4LQ.
Now, N4LQ is WB4NKL. I've been over to Spencer. The Antique Radio Club used to have one of their quarterly meets at Spencer. And I was over there. It's been years ago, but I guess I went 2 or 3 times. And I seen them running that engine around the yard there. We take a little down here at Knoxville at Christmas time. They've got a little train that they run from back behind UT, and they go out to the east side of Knoxville and then back up. I did that with some kids here 3 or 4 years ago. It was kind of short. I guess went out about 5 miles and reversed itself and went back. And they had a diesel engine on it, but I think they run that little steam engine on it at times, but they don't run it all the time. Little steam engine, they got it down in Knoxville. He's talking about that engine. I think that's the one that Charlie, W4MEC, he was on there engineering that thing here a while back. So I guess you can pay and do that kind of stuff. I don't know what that Southern used to run. I guess it was on excursions, and I'm not sure what the engine number was, but they used to run a excursion steam train through here at times. It's been several years back, but I'd always it'd wake you up, blowing the whistle, hear all these crossings coming through limestone. So I always like to hear it, and I'd try to run down there and watch it go by. But that's been probably 15, 20 years ago when they've done that. It's been a while back. Good deal on the Clinchfield steam engines, Brandon. I don't think I've seen that book. And talking about the boiler explosion, that was still talked about when I went to work. There's still a lot of those guys still around at that time and knew, all the details. That was still a topic there back in the day when I went to work back in the 70s. I guess I'll send it on around. Go ahead, Rick. WK4R, WB4NKL.
WK4R. Well, let's see. Brandon, you mentioned being the engineer, but the 611, or the J611, had Engineer Day last Saturday. They only announced it like a week in advance, or engineer and fireman. To be an engineer for, I think it was 30 minutes maybe, was only a mere $850. So your $500 might have been a deal. Jeez. And I just read where some woman sued Disneyland for $50,000 because she got an injurious wedgie riding on one of the water rides through some tubes or something. That's all I'll say. I've been to Spencer several times. On that note, I've got to get out because, according to my wife, I think we're heading to the gym this morning. Then I got to get some paint. One can, take down to church for the guy that's painting, and try to get some other things done today. So anyway, y'all have fun. 73 to everybody. W4GUZ, WK4R clear, but listening.
Alrighty, Rick.
One can.
Have a good day. Out and about. Don't lick any doorknobs. 'Tis the season, apparently. I don't know. I felt pretty puny, and I'm pretty sure that the vet gave it to me. She was sniffing and snorting when they came over last Tuesday, but I didn't do any testing. I didn't figure that it mattered. I just been overdosing on vitamin C and zinc and Advil cold and sinus, which has a pseudoephedrine in it, which is probably not that great for you, but they use it to make meth, so you have to sign your name to purchase it. But it really does help you during daylight hours. That's for sure. So a pseudoephedrine does have its place, just not in a meth pipe. John, if you're still listening, yes, all women are crazy. You just got to find one that you're somewhat compatible with and hang on. By the way, Amy's still in the bed. And John, you probably look more like the Michelin man with the bee suit. I need to make my fall inspection on the bees and treat them for mites now that all the honey has been confiscated, or all that I'm taking. Steve, you just need to pick you up a vintage Flex transceiver and be done with it. They're not, knock on wood, not very susceptible to RF, even though I made a couple not direct connection mistakes, but have made mistakes when flipping coax switches and running a little bit of juice. And I know we'd talked a couple years ago about taking the Doe River excursion on through the Doe River Gorge. after talking to Mike Hobson, I think he's washed his hands of it because the person that's running the resort is greedy with his money, and he started arguing with the volunteers. It was like Mike that knew what they were doing on the railroad, and I think everybody's about quit. So I doubt the Doe River experience will go any further than the first trestle. That's where they made it to. Well, that's where the end of the track's at. But, all the everything was pretty much laying there ready to replace the decking on the trestle, and then something happened. So, and yeah, Rick, I guess I was looking at the fireman price instead of the engineer. That's a little much for 30 minutes. If it was an all-day event, maybe. Cliff, Mike said that he could take me right after he gets his hip replaced, take me right to the remnants of the boiler explosion in the gorge. Probably this time next year, but the only problem is the flues and what you can find, or what's left, is across the river. But I'd still like to see it. I may have to take a raft down the Nolichucky to get over to the other side. I don't think there's any other way. If it's anywhere close to Eagles Cliffs or right there at Caney Bottoms, which is where it occurred. Still uncertain exactly where the one or two engines that crashed are located in the river, but that would be an experience if I was a scuba diver, and I'm not, so I don't guess I'll ever find that. In the 1991 CSX excursion with number 1 leading it, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure maybe it wasn't number 1. I think CSX had already sold it to the museum. Anyway, I begged and begged and begged Father to let me be a part of that. And the closest I got was the walking bridge in Spruce Pine, and got all cindered up, which was fine with me as a kid. Which they're talking about tearing that bridge down, which makes perfect sense since that's one of the mainstays of Spruce Pine. That's where my grandpa walked to school, and grandmother. And apparently on that 91 excursion, they had a brake or an airline failure, and they come to a rather sudden stop, and somebody bumped their hip or something and sued CSX and won, and then I reckon CSX said no more. So I don't guess there'll ever be an excursion through the clinch field, unfortunately. I guess that means only one thing. I'll do what I said I was going to do since 91, is hobo a train. I just hadn't got the courage up enough to do it, so I'm not getting any younger. Al, are you back? AK4VH double U4G, is it?
Yeah, I'm back. KK4VH returning for a one-time transmission here, and then I'm going to get out of here. But anyway, I was switching VFOs, and then got a phone call right in the middle of it, and I didn't make it back in time. Sorry about that. I'm sure nobody missed me anyway. But anyway, not a whole lot going on here this morning, and I missed most of what the carrying on was all about here, and so I did get the Leanne deal there with Terry, though. And all the money he spent, man, I'm telling you, Terry, I don't know if he'll ever recover from that. And I don't know if he'll ever recover from what you thought he was going to gain. But anyway, gentlemen, I'm going to get out of here on this one. I have enjoyed what I heard of it, and what I didn't hear was probably okay too. A lot of train discussion today, I guess, and I'm always interested in listening to that. And I rode a couple of steam trains up in Virginia several years ago, and down in North Carolina too. But they were just short runs, and wasn't any no commercial money making involved in it. It was just a railroad that was a cutoff going back to a couple of sawmills that went up to the main line, and I got to ride from one end to the other of that. And that was exciting, I thought. I enjoyed it. And also, they have since taken the track up and did away with the whole deal now. So anyway, them sawmills closed, and there was no need for the rail to still be there, so they took it down. But it sure was nice for all the fellows that were interested in that stuff, because they actually kept it up, and they had a couple of houses there, and they had water towers that they took and kept up, and it was a nice deal. But the railroad owned the property, and they leased it out, so they did away with the rail. So that did away with everything else. So anyway, that's the way the world is today. You gentlemen take care, have a fine one, and we'll do it again when we can. KN4RCL, KK4VH. We'll be off and clear, but listening here for a few. 7-3.
KN4RCL, 73, Al. And Terry, we're going to talk about the steam engines today, so just stuff it, okay? Stuff it. And if you want somebody to blame, go ahead and blame Brandon. Him and Rick got all this talk about steam engines and railroad and trains started. Talking about closures, you can still, I think, pull it up on radio reference and Volcacity, you listen live, and you can still listen to Sudden's Iceful transmissions, which is very few and far between. Used to, when the mill was open out there at Kenton, the Brewery Sudden, there was quite a bit of activity going on between the Brewery paper and the power plant. It used to be a coal power plant down on Lake Julian, and there was quite a bit of traffic at that time. When I was in the hospital, that would have been about 2016 or so. And funny thing is, the hospital has got a channel where it shows Biltmore Village, and you could actually see the trains coming through. So I was in the hospital. I turned to that radio frequency on my phone, which is streaming on the internet, and I'll be able to hear and see trains taking up out of the yard heading east from Iceful, out of what they call the east yard. It's the only one still operating. The east yard is. The west yard and Tower 3 have been shut down for about 3 or 5 years now, since they shut the hauling coal down there to Lake Julian. Then I guess the chip cars coming from Bristol Industries to Canton finished route. I think they've reassigned all the locomotions and all the power on the railroad, and I think pretty much closed up shops. Their shop was there at the, well, there wasn't a real shop, at office. It's right there at the Canton paper mill plant. KN4RCL. Go ahead, Terry.
Man, Debbie, WD-40, well, you fellas talk about these choo-choo trains and stuff. You have to look it up on the internet. Don't know whether they still do it or not. But in the 90s, when I used to have to go out to Phoenix all the time, they had a choo-choo out there that went from Phoenix up to where that big hole is in the ground. What do they call it? The big gully? No, the Grand Canyon, that's it. It's a big, long ride. So, anyway, all you fellas are interested in that, that'd be the place where I'd go. I always meant to take that trip, but every time I had plans, something else come up, and I couldn't go. So, there. Like I said, that was in the 90s. Don't know whether they still do it or not. But if I was big into riding choo-choo trains, that's where I'd head to. That'd be a nice long trip. So, there you go. And what do you mean, stuff? Where am I going to stuff it, Chad? N4LQ WD4OUM.
Okay, trains. I don't know much about trains. They still had steam engines when I was a kid. I remember watching them come in at the station up in Ashland, Kentucky, where I was born and raised. And wasn't too long after that, the diesels took over. So long ago, they were outdated. Anyway, that's about it for me this morning. I'm gonna pass on out of here and get busy on something else. So it's been fun. 73s. And Cliff, take it away. WB4NKL, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4NKL. 73s, I guess I need to get out too and get started on the walking. Might go back up to Jonesboro. I went up there yesterday and walked, and this one trail got closed by the windstorm. I did it yesterday. I climbed over trees, went around trees, and I don't know when they'll ever get that trail back open. It's probably 25 huge trees has got it blocked, and it's a lot of work to get that back in operation. But there's other trails. I might go back up there, and I'm not going to do that again where I have to climb over all that stuff. He's talking about, well, we wasn't talking about passenger trains, but a neighbor gave me a picture of the Limestone Station down here in 1963. Got a picture of the Pelican Express. That was a passenger train that came through here, went from Washington to New Orleans. And it was probably one of the last ones. I don't know when they quit that passenger service, but that was interesting. Pretty good picture. It was one of the rail magazines that he copied it out of. Pelican Express. Then I was talking to my brother-in-law. He had come to Greenville about that time, and he rode that train. He's originally from England. He flew into, or they'd come into New York, I guess, and he had a job in Greenville, Tennessee, and he rode the Pelican Express. He remembered that name and everything when I showed him the picture. I'll say 73s too, and enjoyed it, and we will catch everybody in the morning, if not before. Go ahead, and I Rick got out back to Brandon, W4GUZ, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff. And now that my back is somewhat, it's 100% better, I need to get back into the woods. Even with the cold, I've been walking up and down the road and trying to do some strengthening exercises. I think a couple times I pushed it a little too far. Kind of scared me, but anyway, I'm doing a lot better. I guess Billy Bob's on the road, maybe. I wonder what he'll come back with this year, sick-wise. Well, I'll hang in here for one more, whoever's left. I guess Terry and Chad. And then I'll jump out. Back to work tomorrow. Supposed to be there today, but I'm not. I should be good to go tomorrow if progress continues. Go ahead, Chad. KN4RCL W4GUZ.
KM4RC, mighty fine. Also sitting the trees on this one also. But I'm sitting here watching videos and, well, I'll send to you one day you're working the train rides at Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum by the Southern Railway, high hooded locomotive experience. And there's quite a bit of railroad down there in Chattanooga. If you ain't been, you and Amy need to go sometime. Probably wrapping up for the year, I say, right now. But, as far as seeing railroads in the southeast, that's probably one of them ones to go to. Everything else is out west. I like to see them out west and do it someday. That's on the bucket list. So, I'll send it back around, not to Terry, and I'll say 73 and get on out of here.
Well, bucket list. I wished I'd have known about one of them things back when I was younger. But, you know, I was thinking what I'd put in my bucket if I had a bucket, and I can't think of nothing. I think I've done everything. Been everywhere I want to go. Stuff like that, so, ain't got nothing left, and I ain't got no bucket, so I'm up a creek. Anyway, and Brandon, I wrote that down here a while ago, what you said about, you know, living with a crazy woman. I underlined it 2 or 3 times, so I've got it written down here in case I ever need it. I'm gonna get it. What you call it? Yeah, shoot, I can't remember. You know where they put that little seal on there and sign their doohickey and stuff. But anyway, I got it written down. That's probably all I need. Anyway, W4GUZ, WD4OUM.
W4GUZ, I think. Well, you have to agree with me. Have you ever met one that was 100% sane? I haven't. But I do say that I have a good one. Even though her screws need tightening about once a week, but she chases me around with the impact wrench, so I guess that's why it works. Oh, well, I don't have much else to say, and my head stopped up, and I'm sure you don't want to hear me snorting and sniffing, so as Rick would say, I want to go in search of some nourishment, and I guess some more Advil. Looks like it's going to be a pretty day. I tell you what, if we don't get some rain, it's making some good weather for some arsonists over here in western North Carolina. It is dry. Dry, 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 dry. I'll have to look back at the gauge to see the last raindrops we got, but old Staggerweed Creek is about nothing more than a little branch. You can step over it with one step. And up in the holler, which is usually a pretty good little creek there, where we've got our little getaway. That's where we took the pups last week, and it was nothing but just a little trickle. So we need some rain. Now it can wait until the yard dies completely. I won't fuss about that because it's about halfway there now. And the leaves are falling off. The road up through here is just about completely leaf covered, or it was yesterday. So and then I see all these reports. One says, talking about weather patterns. The last one I seen, which is an official report from Greenville-Spartanburg, says that we're supposed to have above average snow, but I think they said that last year and the year before and the year before. Regardless, the days are getting shorter, and I dread the time change with a passion. Dark when I get up, dark when I get off work. Bah humbug. Enjoyed it. We'll talk to you, let's see, Thursday, I think. If it all works out. WD4OUM, W4GUZ. Have a good one.
Okie dokie. Well, you guys have a good one too. Anyway, them women critters are just born that way. That's the only thing I can come up with. Yeah. I don't ever flip, dip, and going at it. So there you go. Anyway, catch you fellers later. WD4OUM. Beautiful. Downtown Burbank. 7 3s.